what it calls a steadfast ally.
General Myers says while Australian troops are essential, more won't be needed to fight. But he is calling for more help to rebuild Iraq, with the US to rapidly install new leaders.
I think you'll begin to see a face on an interim administration. I say interim because it will be just the beginnings, but we'll try to put an Iraqi face on this as quickly as possible.
Divisions are deepening on who should take immediate control. The US wants the lead and will only allow a limited partnership with the United Nations.
The nature of that role and how it is to be played remains to be seen.
Anti-war European countries want the UN in charge, but America is attempting a reconciliation. Australia's Foreign Minister, meeting with the UN Secretary-General in New York, is also calling for pre-war wounds to heal, saying the interests of the Iraqi people must be put first. Australia's experience in rebuilding East Timor could also be of use.
It's not beyond the bounds of possibility that an Australian could serve in some caretaker position in the interim administration. I wouldn't rule that out.
In Washington, Deborah Knight, 10 News.
Prime Minister John Howard has held an early morning telephone briefing with the US President. Mr Howard says he's surprised at the ease with which Baghdad Airport fell to the coalition.
The latest personal update by phone from President Bush to Prime Minister Howard revealed a buoyant mood at the White House.
Certainly he sounded confident.
With Baghdad now penetrated by the coalition, Mr Howard cautiously welcomed the latest advance.
The apparent ease, and I stress the apparent ease with which the airport was taken, is a little surprising.
So far our troops have avoided casualties, but at home the mother of one of our special forces wants her son to come back soon.
And I'm going to sound very selfish, I suppose, because I want to know have you got any expectations of when that they will be coming home?
Frankie, you're not being selfish. You're being a very natural mum.
Throughout this week, John Howard has done his best to put an end to the notion that this was ever going to be a short, sharp war over in a matter of days. The view now simply that it will take as long as it takes. And this word of warning that despite good progress, the worst fighting may be to come.
I don't want to mislead you. It might bog down. It can happen.
Greg Turnbull, 10 News.
300 protesters took to city streets today to rally against the war in Iraq. The action was peaceful but vocal, with police keeping a close eye on the rally. It was in contrast to last week's rally, where violence erupted outside the US consulate. After parading through the CBD, demonstrators converged on the Murray Street Mall, staging a mass dying.
We're basically trying to show to the people of Perth what it would actually be looking like at the moment in cities like Baghdad and Basra in Iraq, where hundreds of thousands of civilians are being killed, innocent civilians going about their daily life.
No arrests were made.
A Perth man convicted of organising a child sex tour to Thailand will spend at least 3 years behind bars. The District Court today heard the 71-year-old retired schoolteacher has shown no remorse for his crime.
Police first became suspicious of Jonathan Kay 2.5 years ago when he placed an advertisement in a gay newspaper. It promoted the services of a young Thai man willing to be a personal guide for older men travelling to the country. In February, the father of 4 was found guilty of child sex tourism. It was the first time an Australian had been successfully prosecuted of the crime.
I think it's a fair indication that this sort of offence won't be tolerated by ourselves or either the justice system.
The jury heard Kay told a customer he could provide him with boys and girls of any age for sexual purposes. But police swooped the week before they were due to leave the country. Judge Shauna Dean today described the former teacher's behaviour as highly exploitative and sexually deviant and said it's irrelevant that the trip never went ahead. The court was told Kay had a distinguished career as a schoolteacher and has been involved with various children's charities.
Judge Dean said it's disturbing that Mr Kay refuses to take responsibility for his crime, shows no sign of remorse and is unwilling to take part in sex offender programs.
She sentenced him to 6 years jail. He'll be eligible for parole after 3. Charmaine Dragoon, 10 News.
A young probationary police constable has been hailed a hero after laying his life on the line to catch a criminal. The 30-year-old officer was stabbed in the neck while chasing a would-be car thief.
The off-duty police constable, known only as Normie, was walking to his car in the Alexander Library car park when he saw two men arguing just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
At first I thought they were play fighting. They were shaping up to each other, and then one of the males started to run away.
Normie chased the man out into the pedestrian walkway outside the Perth Cultural Centre, at the same time calling police on his mobile phone.
He could hear me on the phone. I was identifying myself to VKI on the phone, telling him who I was, where I was, and the fact that I was off duty. And he's basically stopped and turned around and attacked me.
It's certainly a callous attack, and it's very worrying for police officers that a police officer can call on a person and that person turn around, threaten them and then injure them in a serious way.
Felt like I thought he was punching me, and then I thought I felt like a puncture wound.
As a statewide manhunt got underway for this man, Police Minister Michelle Roberts visited the young officer in hospital.
I said to Norm what he had done was well above the call of duty. It was certainly a very, very brave act, and the community would commend him for his actions. He's put his own life on the line.
Rex Hoare, 10 News.
After the break, the latest on the spread of a deadly disease, a 3-year-old girl caught up in the virus scare.
And the new laws affecting Perth dog owners.
Doctors will be on call at Australian airports throughout the weekend in a bid to stop the deadly SARS virus from spreading. The drastic measures come as 3 Canadian children on holiday in Victoria are tested for the killer bug.
An infection control emergency. The children aged 18 months, 3 and 6, bypassing casualties so as not to infect others. They became sick soon after arriving on Saturday from Canada, where SARS is rampant. They're now in a stable condition in an isolation ward like this.
The children are actually tolerating it extremely well, considering the bizarre circumstances in which they find themselves.
There's no diagnostic test for the deadly virus, so their condition must be monitored. But authorities haven't yet contacted other passengers on their flight.
World Health Organisation criteria would suggest that they were probably not infectious at that time.
The spread of the illness has so far claimed 79 lives. 6 other Australians are feared to have contracted SARS. From tomorrow, health professionals will be based at international airports to stop the virus advancing.
The captain of the aircraft would radio in to quarantine officials, and there would be an assessment by them.
Airlines will make on-board announcements and suspected carriers will be isolated.
Short of shutting all the airports, it's very difficult to assess because people can come with and be asymptomatic for 2 or 3 days after they arrive.
Warning against travel to China's Guangdong province and Hong Kong. The World Health Organization has sent experts to the trouble spots in a bid to find what's causing SARS or how it's spread. Doctors say close contact is the most likely way the virus is spread. Martine Griffiths, 10 News.
A 21-year-old Queen's Park man has been jailed for life for murder. Dean Grant Anderson was convicted by a jury of killing a complete stranger in a caravan park in November 2001. The court was told Anderson bashed the man repeatedly with a baseball bat because he'd stared at him. Justice John McKechnie described Anderson as a danger to the community, saying he's unable to control his anger. Dean Anderson will spend 12 years behind bars before being eligible for parole.
And a convicted armed robber has been found guilty over the abduction of a young woman in Marangaroo. 2 other men armed with a gun and samurai sword held the woman captive for more than 13 hours. Brett Maston was accused of masterminding the plan from his cell in Hakea prison, but he was today found guilty of the lesser charge of deprivation of liberty, while his co-accused were convicted of kidnapping.
A teenage boy has faced court over a schoolyard crossbow attack in New South Wales. It's alleged the 16-year-old also hurled a Molotov cocktail at his victims. One of them was his ex-girlfriend.
Police inquiring into the crossbow attack alleged in a Newcastle children's court the 16-year-old youth took the crossbow to school planning to kill his former girlfriend following their breakup a week ago. He had been taunted at school. She refused to speak to him, so he shot her with an arrow tipped with a lethal hunting point. Police allege the attack was calculated and premeditated. The police prosecutor saying the young person has, of his own volition, fitted the hunting arrowhead to the bolt. It was used for maximum damage to be obtained. Crossbows are prohibited in New South Wales. The youth paid more than $1,000 for the weapon, purchased by mail order interstate. With his victims critically wounded, the boy allegedly tried to ignite 2 Molotov cocktails. Police claim the former girlfriend was sprayed with petrol and he intended to burn her. The youth's been charged with attempted murder, 2 counts of malicious wounding with intent to inflict grievous bodily harm, possession of a prohibited weapon and throwing an explosive substance. Hearing the horrific details in court, the boy's father looked stunned and his mother was crying. As the magistrate said, it appeared the crime was motivated by revenge. She ordered a psychiatric assessment be made and refused bail. The defence lawyer said the couple's affair had been intense. Her decision to end it could amount to provocation. Meanwhile, doctors say the arrow passed through the lung just above the first victim's heart, then slammed into the side of the second victim's legs, pinning them together.
Both the young girls are in a stable condition, which is excellent, and especially the young lass with the chest injury.
John Hill, 10 News.
New animal cruelty laws have stopped short of enforcing a total ban on the tail docking of dogs. The RSPCA has welcomed the regulations but says it's far from the end of the tail.
The dockers say they've had a win. We're not talking football, but the two sides are poles apart in this clash.
Well, it's a positive step to stop, as we call the cowboys that are out there.
New laws came into force today banning tail docking simply to change a dog's looks. But docking by a veterinarian for therapeutic or health reasons is still allowed. Breeders say that's why they do it anyway.
The vets will not be challenged legally if they choose to dock because they are breeds where they know the tails will be subject to damage later on.
The veterinary community themselves, they'll have to take a stand with breeders who come in and say, look, I want the dog's tail cut off for the show ring.
Though the laws fall short of a total ban, the RSPCA is still wagging its tail over the changes.
To be too tough at this stage would probably mean that the system would get flaunted or bypassed.
As for the dogs, we conducted a pooch poll.
New Reach Dual Effect has unique massaging fingers that gently stimulate your gums, while the contoured bristles clean all those hard-to-reach places. For a clean, clinically proven to reduce gum disease. New Reach Dual Effect.
A 26-year-old Midland man has been killed in a motorcycle crash. It happened about 6 o'clock this morning on a gravel road in Guildford. Police say the man was thrown from the machine when it collided with a bollard at the end of the track. They're investigating whether speed and fatigue contributed to the crash.
The Department of Environmental Protection is set for a major shake-up after a review made nearly 150 recommendations. The renamed Department of Environment has promised to take a hard line on prosecutions following a strong push from the community.
Environmental authorities have been under fire for the handling of a string of disasters over the past 2 years. Community anger has prompted the state government to overhaul the body that investigates and prosecutes those at fault. Today, Environment Minister Judy Edwards announced an overhaul of the DEP, including changes to management, enforcement and licensing.
I've recommended that they change their management style to be one of more an advocate for the environment. And I think that's in line with community expectations.
The review found the department had a last resort approach to taking action against people or companies breaching environmental laws. An independent enforcement unit will be introduced to ensure licensing officers are no longer involved in prosecutions. That will cost $500,000.
We've injected other monies to set up a hazardous waste inventory. We've put other money aside and into the department to assist with land clearing problems.
The opposition has welcomed the changes but says more needs to be done.
The real challenge is to find long-term permanent solutions to environmental damage in Perth and in regional areas, and nothing at all has been done about that.
Jacinda Birch, 10 News.
There's been a major step forward in resolving the national public liability insurance crisis in the wake of the September 11 terror attacks. A meeting of finance ministers in Perth today agreed to uniform state and federal laws to enforce insurance standards. They're also considering capping payouts for severe injury claims.
And to also impose a threshold under which, for very small and trivial claims that clog up the system and make it more expensive, that they don't actually get through the loop.
At least 2 more meetings are planned to finalise the changes.
The federal government has been accused of turning its back on an Australian terror suspect being held in Pakistan. For the second time in as many months, Jack Thomas has been denied release.
After 3 months of hoping and waiting to see their son again, Ian and Patsy Thomas were recently given a glimmer of hope. They'd been told the Pakistan government was prepared to release Jack Thomas, subject to action by the Australian government. However, the 29-year-old still remains in custody in Pakistan's northwest province, with his parents accusing the federal government of shunning their son.
Frankly, we are losing hope. We love our son, and we also hope and trust that he deserves to be treated with basic decency.
After being arrested in January by Pakistani police in Karachi, the married father of one has yet to be charged. He remains in detention at an undisclosed location on suspicion of training with Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan.
Well, it's incumbent upon the Australian authorities to protect the rights of one of its citizens.
The Thomases have spoken to their son twice over the phone in the past week, but remain unsure if they'll ever see him again.
We do not even know if he will ever have the opportunity to go in front of a judge and to find out what he's being held for or for how long.
Jack Thomas has been interviewed by both ASIO and the Federal Police, with investigations still underway. Cameron Bowe, 10 News.
Indian authorities have discovered a cache of arms and ammunition at a militant hideout in India. The find was made when security forces raided the secret base. They found grenades, guns and hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. The hideout was home to one of the chiefs of a Pakistan-run militant group. He was killed during the siege.
More than 500,000 people have been affected by the toxic contamination of 2 rivers in Brazil. A chemical spill from a paper plant is surging through the 2 major waterways in the southeast of the country. The environmental disaster has killed fish and farm animals. There are now concerns locals could also be at risk. Experts believe it will take up to 15 years to clean up the spill.
A bizarre creature of the deep has been hauled from the icy oceans off New Zealand. It's a 150-kilogram colossal squid and is only half grown. Its eyes are the size of dinner plates and are the biggest of any animal in the world. It has 2 parrot-like beaks and its 5-metre tentacles have rotating hooks for capturing prey. The squid was snared by a fishing trawler more than 3,000 kilometres south of Wellington and is only the 2nd intact specimen ever found.
Still ahead, another health scare for Australia's richest man.
And the swimsuit model making a meal of some seriously big pizza.
David, the pizza's here. Can you deal with it? I have to go to the bathroom.
That's $13.
He says he loves her, but he treats her bad and dislikes her friends.
I wanted Gabriel to have dinner with us tonight.
Next time tell me and I won't come.
Is this the real you? Because if it is, I don't want any of it.
Is this the end? Secret Life of Us, 8:30 Monday.
What on Earth's Going On? Brought to you by Channel 10 and Mother Earth.
Look at all these plastic bags. They give us a big garbage and pollution problem. They clog drains, spoil our oceans and parks, kill wildlife, yet we use literally billions of them a year. So collect them and take them back for recycling when you shop. And when you can, use a cardboard box or shopping bag. Let's all do our bit for Mother Earth. We've looked at what's good for the earth, but what about what's good for you? We know raw food is high in vitamins and minerals, but the more you process it, the more nutrients are lost. So, Mother Earth keep their foods as simple as possible with chunks of real fruit and whole grains in their muesli bars. And there's something else Mother Earth doesn't process out, the most important thing, taste.
Olay invites you to take a picture of yourself because after using anti-aging Total Effects, your skin may never look the same. It's rated higher overall than other department store products. See tone and colour improve. The look of age spots diminishes. It keeps working to help fight the 7 signs of ageing. So why don't you shoot for the future? Picture yourself looking younger starting today. Total Effects from Olay. Love the skin you're in.
Thingz Gifts is on sale now. Huge savings throughout the store. Selected oven to tableware with chrome stands save 40% off recommended retail, our price just $12. Save 20% on quality throw rugs, now just $8. Save on these modern lamps, were $14.99, now just $12.99. Stainless steel stock pots, hot price, all sizes just $10. Hundreds of other bargains in store now. Save, save, save. Thingz Gifts on sale now.
You got 10 pieces of chicken, crispy strips, chips, coleslaw and potato and gravy. Then the Cadbury chocolate Easter eggs. See, the chicken does come before the egg, but only with an Easter feaster from KFC.
Australia's richest man, Kerry Packer, has been released from hospital after emergency heart surgery. He underwent keyhole surgery late last night to clear blocked arteries and left Sydney's Royal Prince Alfred Hospital this morning. His wife Ros remained by his side during the treatment.
A woman has walked free from court despite stealing more than $250,000. Much of the money, which was accidentally put in her daughter's bank account, was spent on drugs and gambling.
Jodie Parchmenko gave in to temptation and spent thousands of dollars that weren't hers. But today she walked free from court, a judge finding an immediate jail term was not warranted. $325,000 was accidentally deposited in her daughter's bank account. Within weeks, she'd spent $255,000. Bankrupt, unemployed and on a single mother's pension, Parchmenko spent the stolen money on bills, clothes, drugs and gambling. In sentencing the 30-year-old today, the judge noted that through no fault of her own, a huge temptation was placed in her way. But she said it must be clearly understood to take and spend money to which you are not entitled is theft.
I would imagine that it would be a temptation, but at some point you're going to be found out, so it's easier to have the problem rectified straight away.
Judge Cohen considered Parchmenko's role as a mother of 4 and said while she'd never been employed, her intelligence was well above average. Parchmenko, who has 4 prior convictions for theft, received a 12-month jail term, suspended for 3 years. Mignon Henny, 10 News.
Sydney model turned actress Annalise Brackenseek is in Perth for a whirlwind visit to promote a new movie. Fat Pizza takes viewers on a 24-hour journey with a group of pizza delivery drivers.
She's best known as Australia's most successful swimsuit model, and after gracing countless magazine pages, Annalise Brackenseek has branched out into acting. She's currently in Perth promoting her new film, the movie version of the cult television series Pizza.
There was no catering vans. Where's my wagon? You know, there was none of that. It was really low budget and a lot of fun.
Annalise reprises her small screen role as supermodel Claudia McPherson, but she's also the girlfriend of a famous magician.
David, the pizza's here. Can you deal with it?
Brackenseek says the best part of making the film was getting to co-write her lines with writer, producer, director and main character Paul Fennick.
He's got a very quick sense of humour and a unique sense of humour, and he's very brave, you know. I mean, it's completely politically incorrect.
Hi, I'm Claudia McPherson, supermodel. And this here is my new ad stiffy.
Fat Pizza is rated MA 15+ and opens in Perth next week. Charlene Serac, 10 News.
Sport is next with Tim Gossage and concern for the Bombers.
Yes, Greg, James Hird struggled at training today and we'll have the latest on his fitness fight. Also, a Perth Glory star returns, Plays of the Week, and we speak with a very happy John Worsfold. Cousins cleared as his teammates train for their Tassie trip. And Cats collapse, the Kings on top of the grand final throne.
The Fremantle Dockers are exciting and hungry to win. 6:30 Saturday, our mighty Dockers take on the Swans on Freo's home turf. Will Fremantle send the Sydney Scourge packing? Saturday at 6:30 on 10. Thingz Gifts is on sale now. Huge savings throughout the store. Selected oven to tableware with chrome stands save 40% off recommended retail, our price just $12. Save 20% on quality throw rugs, now just $8. Save on these modern lamps, were $14.99, now just $12.99. Stainless steel stock pots, hot price, all sizes just $10. Hundreds of other bargains in store now. Save, save, save. Thingz Gifts on sale now.
Okay, pizza lovers, it's time to get back to that original taste. Only Domino's have classic crust, the pizzeria-style crust that's crisp on the outside and soft and light on the inside. Baked fresh to order, it'll send your taste buds into a spin. When you've got the hots for authentic flavour, make your next pizza a Domino's classic crust. Got the hots, Domino's.
Schwarzkopf Extra Care with Scan Care technology scans each individual strand, penetrating deeply to nourish and add body and shine. Scan Care, vital for the life in your hair. From Schwarzkopf.
Tomorrow only, you'll pay less for bedroom packages at Bedshed. This queen bed with mattress plus 2 bedside tables, all for $9.99. And this contemporary queen package is just $16.99.
Bedshed. No one's better in the bedroom.
Be inspired by the latest collections. On parade this week during Fashion in the City.
Who'll be tackling all the latest AFL and local football news this season? Pre-game every Friday and the game every Monday inside the West Australian.
I'm gonna whip your grass. Talon, tough tools.
Lost your drive? Maybe the old engine's had its day. Need something to get you going again? Autotrader gives you thousands of new or used vehicles complete with colour picks.
Here's a nice one, love.
Autotrader puts you in the driver's seat from the comfort of your home.
When you spend as much time swimming as Gian Rooney, you need some variety in your day. That's why Uncle Tobys Plus gives you flakes, plus bran, plus sultanas, plus almonds, plus apple. Uncle Tobys Plus, a whole lot more.
You realise your head is tilted on a 23.5-degree axis. No wonder you're getting headaches. Well, is there anything you can do?
The all-new Aussie sketch comedy where skit happens.
Thanks, Tom. That feels a lot better.
All new Skithouse, 8 o'clock Sunday on 10.
Welcome to Sport, everyone. Eagles coach John Worsfold says the distractions faced by Ben Cousins this week could work in the captain's favour. And in an ironic twist to the Cousins-Hardwick incident, Cousins will play on Sunday, but Hardwick will miss Port Adelaide's game against Brisbane because of injury.
He wasn't going to play, now he is. It's been a tough week for Ben Cousins, but spare a thought for his coach.
I was rapt, I spoke to Ben immediately after and rapt to have him available to play, but more rapt that he cleared his name. That to me was the key part because, even when we decided to do the appeal, there was a doubt about whether he'd play with his ankle, but we may have got him off the tribunal charge and he still may not have played, but we were prepared to take that risk to clear his name.
The Eagles skipper cleared of striking Damien Hardwick. Thanks to new technology, the tribunal not convinced he made contact.
I was confident from the point of view that I knew what I was saying. I was telling the truth and, I knew that in my own mind that I didn't strike him.
The star midfielder will join his teammates in Launceston tomorrow. The club walking tall and confident they can knock over the Hawks. Worsfold not concerned by Cousins' lack of preparation.
He would have been looking at Hawthorn and who may play on him and how he was going to go. it doesn't hurt every now and then to sort of sit back and then just turn up and play and get yourself set.
The Eagles with a healthy squad and are now favourites to win. The Dockers also tipped to beat Sydney at Subi and expect Jeff Farmer to play. The Wizard impressive during today's short session and looks to have overcome a cork thigh. Justin Longmuir isn't 100% fit, but worth a punt. The Dockers set to continue challenging their youngsters in defence. Polak, Hadrill and Woods have played 35 games between them. One will be given the job of stopping Barry Hall.
With any young players, the jury's always out until they really establish themselves, and they'll go through that inconsistent process, but it's the ones that stand up under the heat and under pressure that we're looking for.
If Hall lets loose, the midfield will be robbed of Matthew Pavlich's brilliance. Lockie Reid, 10 News.
And don't forget the special time tomorrow night for the Dockers Swans. 6:30, all the action from Subi. Freo aiming for their first win of the year. The Swans in town and in form. Essendon skipper James Hird's in doubt for tomorrow's clash with Melbourne after failing to complete training this afternoon. The Bombers star left the track early, clutching his leg and didn't return.
You can never be too sure what games are being played at Essendon. But when James Hird left the track accompanied by a physio, he was in obvious discomfort, placing the cloud of doubt directly above him.
It's more a wear and tear issue and coming back from a pretty tough game in Brisbane. So, we try to rest most of our older senior experienced players and give our younger players as much opportunity to train up.
Sheedy was more forthcoming about his opponents, in particular David Neitz. Dustin Fletcher's return a boost to the Bombers' backline, hoping to contain the informed Demons skipper.
And Neitz is one of their real keys to their goal-kicking power, and they kicked more goals than us last week. I think they doubled it. So, we've got to help shut down Neitz. And as I said, Fletcher's probably the best full-back in the competition, so we probably line up, I'd say, with him there.
We had Brad Green last week. They've got to also keep an eye on him. He's in good form, so we just, David's very important, but we're also mindful of not being too one-dimensional.
Gary Moorcroft and Chris Heffernan have swapped the black for the blue and will be seeing red when friends become foes at the MCG tomorrow.
You got to channel that in the right way. You can actually overcook yourself, I think, in these situations. But just trying too hard, getting a bit anxious about it. But they're both experienced players, I guess.
The Demons mindful of last Sunday's final term fade-out, keeping it light on the track this week to avoid similar fatigue.
There's no doubt a bit of a mental lapse with all that as well, getting the 38 points and it's just another lesson for our leaders.
Christy Malthouse, 10 News.
Noon tomorrow from the MCG, Melbourne and the Bombers. You can catch the action live here on 10, Essendon and the Demons. The Perth Wildcats have returned home, licking their wounds after yet another final quarter fade-out that has cost them victory. The Cats squandered a double-figure lead in last night's Game 1 of the Grand Final series with the Kings. They must win Sunday to keep their championship dream alive. Sunday's too far away for the Perth Wildcats. Game 2 can't come quick enough after last night's nightmare against the Kings.
We feel that we've let ourselves down as well as everyone else, so I don't think it's a case of getting yourselves up. I think it's a case of saying bring on Sunday.
After Brett Wheeler tipped in his 22nd point for the Cats midway through the final quarter, many believed Game 1 of the Grand Final was as good as gone. That's everyone except Sydney.
Long range, he fires. It counts.
Shane Heal led a remarkable fight back for the home team. Sydney scoring the last 11 points of the game. For the second time during the playoffs, the Cats had squandered a double-digit lead in the final term.
Disappointed that we lost, but I'm still upbeat about our chances. It definitely would have been great to be up 1 game, none, but we're not dead by any stretch of the imagination.
And it is all over. The Sydney Kings had come from 14 points down with 6 minutes to play and have run over the top of the Perth Wildcats to get home by 4 points.
We showed a lot of courage tonight because we were gone in that game, and Gorge kept driving us. He said, you can do it, and we believed in ourselves, and it's nice to get Game 1.
New South Wales youngster Michael Clark has been selected to replace the injured Damien Martin for the tour of the West Indies. Martin's fractured finger has failed to mend. He'll now rest for the next 4 weeks and may join the one-day team for the tour of the Caribbean. The West Aussie considers his injury a minor setback.
And hopefully one day I get my baggy green back on and I can get back out there. But that's always the risk when you're injured now and you're out of the game. There's a lot of great players around that You know, you can't just walk back in the side.
I turned up today looking forward to play for Australia A, and you know, fortunately for me, I've been given a great opportunity to spend some time with the Australian guys, and look, I'm overwhelmed, and I'm rapt to be given this opportunity.
Perth Glory will be aiming to bounce back tomorrow night against Adelaide at Perth Oval. Damien Morey returns, also in action, the goal-scoring machine, Jamie Harnwell.
Well, Jamie, a cynic might say the Glory are putting in pretty inconsistent performances.
Oh, I don't know about that. Last weekend wasn't too bad. The first half was a bit disappointing, but second half we really controlled the game but couldn't create any chances.
This new finals format, even though you've lost a game, it still gives you plenty of chances though.
Oh, there's still 8 weeks to go. Probably lucky we got the bonus 3 points now. There's 4 teams sitting on top at 6 points, so it's going to be a great run into the end of the season.
Obviously, Damien Morey coming back this week will be a big boost.
Yeah, absolutely. He was probably missed last weekend. Whether he starts or not is up to Mish, but it's great just to have him back in the squad.
What about other injury concerns?
Edgar will probably struggle this weekend. I don't think he'll be right, so it's disappointing for him, but Simon Klossmo did very well last weekend.
He was the one that crossed it to you for the header?
Yeah, it's a great corner. He's knocking some great balls in, and thankfully I got in the end of one at last.
It's nice to register a goal. How many is that?
That's 2 for the season. Depends whether you count the own goal or not. It could be 2 or 3.
Still a fair way away from the magic 10.
Yeah, I've got about 8 games to go to try and get up there, so one every game. That shouldn't be too bad.
Back at home tomorrow night, that'll be a big game.
Yeah, we can't wait. Adelaide's a great team. They've shown it by winning their first 2 games, so it's going to be a great game, and we just hope the crowd's going to turn out in force.
And the scoreline for this week?
We'll go for 2-1 at home. It will be a tough game.
Now, sport isn't always straightforward, and that's why we have Plays of the Week.
But how happy is she shot?
That's not too bad right there.
The crowd was aghast. How long would this fight last? Well, until everyone realised it was just an April Fool's joke. But this was for real.
Here we go.
A spot the ball competition. It's not the only sport you play in the snow. If there was a tiger in the water...
And Tiger is very disgusted with this effort, and well, he should be.
There just had to be an alligator on the fairway.
Oh, yeah. This is good.
This is good.
Oh, guess what? He has he should have jumped on him right there. Gibbons doesn't see it at all. He cannot see the ball.
Try spotting this ball.
Oh, my goodness. There he goes. He's had enough. All right.
Patricia Mounier in the book wins the first major.
Obviously, this wasn't the same course.
Of 2003 on the LPGA Tour.
He cannot see the ball. Watch us. First a kiss.
And there are kisses. And there are kisses.
Well, it's not a bad day for a swim.
How sweet. Don't forget, it's Saturday tomorrow, and that means it's the Western Front, 11:30 in the morning. Troy Wilson flexes his muscles. Paul the megastar Medhurst and 2 speed demons face off in a drag race at the Quit Motorplex. That's tomorrow, the Western Front. I'll be watching, and I suggest you do too, and that includes you, Baz of North Perth. That's it, Greg and Celina.
Wouldn't miss it. Thanks, Tim. Michael Schultz will have the weekend weather forecast next.
Then Cottesloe goes Cuban with the sounds of salsa.
What if a peeping Tom was watching you and saw something he shouldn't have?
I know where a body's buried.
Aussie drama's so good, you can't take your eyes off it.
Get down on the ground.
All new White Collar Blue, 9:30 Monday on 10.
Take up the Australian Pensioners Insurance Agency Home and Contents Challenge and stop paying extra. Australian pensioners charge you no extra to pay your premium by the month.
I don't pay extra. How about you?
We have new for old replacement on contents regardless of age, plus accidental breakage of fixed glass at no extra cost.
We don't pay extra.
How about you?
If you're over 55 and don't work full time, take up the challenge and stop paying extra.
Call Australian Pensioners Insurance Agency on 132 555.
Every day at the same time, the lunchtime hunger makes its move. And that's where a Whopper value meal fits in. Whopper, a regular Coke and regular fries. Lunchtime hunger, gone. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Here are the Pantene winners. Who are they?
I've got 2 young children, so I'm on the go all the time. We're always in the pool or out in the sun somewhere. I colour my hair, but the hard water at home just destroyed it. It was dull and lifeless. Well, my mum uses Pantene, so I thought I'd try it just to enter the competition. Now look at it, it really worked. It's so shiny. It feels like I've just coloured it. Well, I always thought I had nice hair, but with Pantene, it's gorgeous hair.
This month at Blockbuster, kids can rent any weekly kids or family movie for free. There are heaps of cool movies to choose from, like Ice Age and Monsters Inc. Kids rent free, only at Blockbuster. Make it a Blockbuster night.
Feed your need for speed. The Ford dealer team presents the USA Jet Dragsters at the season's last race. Don't miss Volcano and Gravity Storm in a night of fire and fury. 0 to 500 Ks in just 5 seconds. That's right, 500 Ks. Bring your friends and feel the shockwaves as they hit the afterburner. USA Jet Dragsters plus over 160 great race teams. Racing from 6 Saturday. Quit Motorplex, Egerton Road, Quinana Beach.
Dreaming. Sweet dreams, Perth. There's a new bonus draw worth a huge $19 million. That's 19 million reasons to get a Slick Pick 25 by Saturday, April 12.
Right now, KFC is shaking up popcorn chicken with 3 great new flavours: salt and vinegar, nacho cheese, and hot shot.
Tonight's weather report is brought to you by Australian Pensioners Insurance Agency, a company that gives you understanding, not just insurance.
Good evening. It's a big cyclone night because today is the 25th anniversary since Tropical Cyclone Alby hit the southwest corner of the state, and now we've got one of the biggest tropical cyclones in Australian history sitting off the northwest coast, Tropical Cyclone Inigo. The Bureau today put the central pressure of Inigo at 900 hectopascals, and just to give you a feeling of how deep that is, the lowest pressure ever recorded in Australia is 905 hectopascals. That was with Tropical Cyclone Orson in 1989. And just to extend it to the world scale, Super Typhoon Tip in the Philippines in 1979. That's the lowest pressure ever been measured with cyclones. 880 hectopascals. More on the cyclone in a moment. We'll have a look at the sky scan, which shows sunny conditions over the metropolitan area. There is the chance of a thundery shower this evening as storms have developed to the northwest and northeast of the city at the moment, but for much of the day the skies were clear, the overnight temperatures were high. It only dropped down to 21 degrees at Gosnells, Pearce, Rottnest and Swanbourne. Perth 19.6 last night at 21 minutes to 7 this morning, 32.6 the maximum at 4 to 2 this afternoon. It's just under 31 degrees at the moment. The relative humidity is 31%. The winds are southeasterly at 13 kilometres per hour and the barometer 1,010.5 hectopascals and falling. Daytime temperatures range from 29 degrees on Rottnest Island through to 34 degrees at Lancelin and Swanbourne, and around the state today 40 degrees was the highest at Pannawonica. The lowest maximum was 20 degrees at Eucla and Red Rocks Point, and the lowest last night was 11 degrees at Bridgetown and Wandering. The heaviest rainfall in the 24 hours till 9 o'clock this morning was 13 millimetres at Marble Bar, and the most in the 6 hours till 3 o'clock this afternoon, 4 millimetres at Columbaroo. Now to Tropical Cyclone Inigo on the series of satellite photographs. At the moment it's about 900 kilometres to the north-northwest of Port Hedland. It's got an excellent eye structure. It's only moving slowly southwestwards at around 15 kilometres an hour at the moment. The Bureau estimates the mean winds around the centre of this cyclone at the moment are 230 kilometres per hour and wind gusts close to the centre to 320 kilometres per hour. It will move towards the Pilbara coast over the weekend. A coastal crossing is likely on Tuesday. The system is expected to deteriorate in the meantime, but it should still be a severe cyclone when it reaches the northwest coast. On the surface chart, we've got the trough running down the west coast, pumping the heat into the southwest land division today, and isolated thundery showers have developed right along that trough line into the southwest corner of the state. By this time tomorrow, the trough's going to be further east. The unsettled weather should be on the eastern side of that trough. As the front moves through, the trough will go further east and there'll be a humid change in west coastal districts, and most of the west coastal districts should remain fine. On Sunday, the trough should go even further east and we'll get some cooler air reaching the southwest corner of the state as the next high pressure cell starts to build up. Let's go round the nation now, where Darwin's expecting a shower. There's mostly fine conditions in Brisbane tomorrow. Cairns is going for a late shower. Sydney, a few showers. Hobart, some drizzle. Very little though, and the other centres should be fine. On local waters, south to southwesterly winds of 10 to 15 knots should become northeasterly at 8 to 12 knots overnight, and then northwesterly by noon at 10 to 15 knots. Tomorrow afternoon, west to southwesterlies are forecast at 13 to 18 knots. The sea should rise to 1.2 metres tomorrow. The swell should increase to 3 metres overnight. That's for offshore waters. Inshore, the swell should be around 1.2 metres. The high tide is again the first tide to report for tomorrow. It's a metre at 11:11 in the morning, and the low tide 0.6 of a metre at 6 tomorrow evening. The fire danger remains high, and the UV rating is back to 6, and it's still high on a 6. Forecast for Perth, it should be fine apart from the chance of a thundery shower this evening. Any thundery showers would be short-lived, and tomorrow will be fine, though we'll have a humid southwesterly change in the afternoon. The minimum 20 degrees and tomorrow's maximum should be around 31. Sunday should be fine and partly cloudy, a top of 26 degrees. Monday should be fine and 24 degrees. Tuesday and Wednesday depends on Tropical Cyclone Inigo. At this stage it looks like we're going to get some thundery showers or some thundery rain. Here's Greg and Celina. Good night.
Thank you, Michael, and that's all in 10 News for the moment.
We leave you now with a Cuban carnival at Cottesloe Beach today. It's just a taste of what to expect when Lo Maximo de Cuba is performed at Burswood next weekend. Good night.
Good night.
Llegó.